Hey, I am Jennifer Roskamp, also known as the Intentional Mom, and I am super excited to help you guys today at home. Those of you who are at home with kids all day these days, and you're wondering what in the world am I going to do? So, I am excited to share some tips as a homeschooling mom of 9. I was thinking about this, and since my oldest is now 19, I figure I have had at least one kid at home every day for the last 19 years and 1 week. So it is going to be okay, and there are some things you can do that is gonna make this time much easier. And I'm excited to share that with you today. It's gonna go much more smoothly when we work through these things. So I'm going to be giving you something different to do every single day this week, right at the same time. And they don't necessarily build off of each other. So if you miss one of the days, certainly go back and watch it, but you don't necessarily have to watch them in order. So that's an okay thing. So today I'm going to be sharing step 1 in what is going to help you with your kids at home. And it's going to be what I consider to be kind of your saving grace. Again, as a mom with kids at home, I still have a household to run. I still have a business to run. I have homeschool my kids, right? So I'm actually teaching them school. And it really can all be juggled at the same time once you have a plan. And that's much of what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to talk about today what's going to be your saving grace. And that is a daily schedule. And I'm going to expand on that in a minute, but that's what we're talking about, is a daily schedule. And then I'm going to share something that will make the days even more fun. The days don't have to be like drudgery, right? They really can be fun. And it's going to stop all of the days from running together. Like, it's hard once you get to Wednesday and Thursday to like pull yourself over the finish line of Friday, right? So I'm going to share with you something that helps the days not all run together and not just feel like this big long string of events. And then finally, I'm going to give you a simple and basic daily schedule example. Okay, so I'm not just going to tell you, hey, create a daily schedule. I'm going to show you one that I would suggest for you. Okay, so before you think, great, schedule, you're going to tell me to make a schedule. Here's what I know. Okay, this is the disclaimer, right? So we don't create a daily schedule so that everything can go according to plan, right? Because we all know that is not going to happen. That is absolutely not going to happen. We create a daily schedule so that we have a greater likelihood of all of the wheels not falling off the bus, right? Basically, a daily schedule gives you the foundation, and the best case scenario, really what you're doing when you're creating a daily schedule, is the best case scenario of how the day will go so that you don't end up with a worst case scenario day, right? Let me say that one more time. A daily schedule is going to give you the best case scenario. If I could plan everything in my day and it could go exactly according to plan, this is what it would look like. We take the time to create that so that you don't end up with a worst case scenario day. Because without a schedule, you're pretty likely to get to the end of the day and feel like it was a worst case scenario day, right? And the second thing I wanted to say about that is schedules, right? Schools have schedules, the same schedule every day for a reason. And that is because they work, right? We all tend to work better when we know what to expect and we know when to expect it, right? And so we're going to take that same principle and apply it to home life, right? And this is what I find even with the summer, right? Even with the summer, you've probably discovered you've got kids home, right, during the summer and breaks and things like that. It really does go better, right? If you spend time during the summer kind of feeling like you're going to pull your hair out, a lot of times what is missing is the same sort of structure that you have during the school year, right? Because even during the school year at home, you have certain schedules, right? Meals kind of have to happen at a certain time. Kids have to get out the door at kind of the same time, right? They come home from school at the same kind of time. Your dinner kind of has to happen at the same kind of time. Bedtimes, all that stuff really does follow a structured schedule because you have that big piece that is school that takes precedence, that takes the biggest chunk of the day. And so a lot of times when moms feel overwhelmed during the summer and like they're just going to pull their hair out and when is school going to come back, It's because we're lacking that same structure. Now, it doesn't have to be the same structure, right? It's much more laid back. And we want to create that same sort of thing here. Okay? So we want to do the same sort of thing. We want to make it so that there is an easier transition from kids being in school to kids being at home. And then vice versa, right? When you actually have some sort of summer schedule, it actually makes it easier for the kids to go back to school. Otherwise, it's a really hard transition time. And that's part of what the problem is right now, right? Part of the problem is right now is we didn't even have warning that kids were going to be home from school, right? It's like one day your kids were in school and pretty much the next day, all of a sudden one day they weren't in school. And so we're left kind of scrambling, trying to figure out, okay, what do I do now, right? And a schedule is going to be your saving grace. So one of the things that I would suggest is one of the things that I tell moms for during the summer, and that is to have theme days where certain things are planned on certain days. And this is going to be what helps all of the days not run together. So actually, I have what's called a summer rescue pack. There's one for boys and there's one for girls. And in that pack is this, where I have a theme day for each week. It doesn't matter what your theme days are. These are just suggested themes. So like on Monday, it's Make Something Monday. Tuesday, it's Tell a Tale Tuesday. Those are days that you focus on, talking about stories or reading stories. Wednesday is Wet Wednesday. You do something with water fun, whether it's inside or outside. Thursday is Theater Thursday. We tend to try to just have fun sometimes it's a puppet show with socks. I mean, it's no big deal, right? And this doesn't monopolize your whole day, right? It's just something, when we go through the schedule in a minute, I'll show you where the theme time fits in. It's just something that the kids look forward to that is, oh, good, we get to have a puppet show today. It might take 20 minutes, but it is still something that they look forward to and you kind of look forward to because it's a planned activity for the day rather than what are we going to do today and you just fly by the seat of your pants, right? And then Friday is Fort Friday. Kids love building forts and they're super easy to do. And then we actually have themes for the weekend too. Snacky Saturday, that's when we make kind of fun snacks. And then Sunday is Slow Down Sunday. We tend to take it really easy on Sundays. So that's just a suggested theme for the week. And if you have the summer rescue pack, there's this is in there. The summer rescue pack, there's one for boys and there's one for girls, and I'll link it with this video and I'll put it on sale. It's normally not on sale till the summer, but I'll put it on sale now. There's a few other things that are helpful in that pack if you have one or are interested in getting it. There's a list of age appropriate chores, right? Your kids are at home. Let them help you, right? And it keeps them busy. And actually you'll see when I talk about, the schedule, you'll see how we have some family project ideas figured in there. In that pack, there's a lot more than just what I'm showing you, but these are things you'll find helpful with that pack. Job jar ideas. When my kids tell me they're bored, go draw something out of the job jar, right? And then actually in the pack too, there's a whole section on resources for moms. There's some things for kids and there's some things for moms. It's about half and half. So like here's summer sanity tips for moms. And these are a few of the things we're going to talk about today, like having bedtimes, for instance, just things that I find make the day go easier. They make the day go easier during the summer as well. Here's something that you guys might really appreciate that's in the pack. So I've shown you some of the stuff that's for girls. This is from the pack that's for boys, so it's not flowered, right? How to earn privileges, right? These are actual punch cards that you punch, right? So these are some of the things that is in that pack if you already have that pack. But the main thing is have themed days during this time, right? During the days of the week, have theme days, all right? So now let's talk about a schedule. What does that actually look like? If I'm telling you your sanity saving tip for today is to have a daily schedule, what does that look like? So I have a copy of mine, which I have to find where I stuck that. Here it is. Okay, so I have a copy of mine, and I know that a lot of you have the Home CEO Life Planner. This is in the Home Life CEO Planner, right? You're gonna pull out your daily home schedule, and if you don't have the Home CEO Life Planner, I am going to put a freebie. I'm going to give this to you guys for free so you can fill it out after we're done here. I will also link that here with this video. I have put together what's called the daily game plan, and there's actually a video in there with some how to use this, how to fill this out, and then there's also a video in there with some tips on how to have smoother days. So it's like all together in a packet. It's all free. I'll link it here. Okay. So let's talk though about a schedule. Okay. So here are two core principles. Before I get into the nitty gritty of this, here are two things I want you to keep in mind. If you are new to listening to what I have to say, I am all about simple is better and less is more. Okay. Especially now because life feels kind of crazy upside down. All of a sudden you have the kids all up in your business. We need to make this super simple, a super simple way to get through the day, okay? So that's two core principles that are important. Less is more and simple is better. When we're talking about your schedule and when you're thinking about how to create a schedule, make sure that you remember less is more. I think as a society, we've kind of come to value this long to-do list. I am not a believer in that at all. I believe in a to-do list that has one thing on it, one main thing. And after that, you get to add 3 more. That's it. 4 things. Only one that's important. Only one thing. You only have to do one thing a day. And the 3 other things that you might get done are just bonuses. So I'm all about simplicity and less is more because life as a mom, especially with kids at home, is from one interruption to the next, right? No matter what I think I'm going to be doing at any one point in time, I'll probably get some of that done, but I'll also be interrupted like 12,000 times, right? So that's why less is more. So here's what I want you to do when it comes to making your schedule. These are things I want you to do. Only 4 main things go into your daily schedule. That's it, okay? Only 4 main things are going to be put into your schedule, all right? And I'm going to tell you what those are. And remember, we're talking basics. You can fill your schedule with more things if you want to. However, I would caution you that if you are thrust into the world of having kids home from school right now, you only stick with these 4 main things in the schedule, and then the rest of the day kind of goes however, okay? So first things that go into the schedule is waking times and bedtimes. These are things that you're probably used to having right now. When your kids are in school, they have a time that they have to be up, and consequently they have an ideal time to go to bed too. That ideal time, that ideal bedtime. So the first things that are going to be part of your daily schedule is bedtimes and waking times for different people, including a bedtime and a waking time for you. And I'm going to talk about that later in the week, actually. So for you as well as for your kids. My kids don't all get up at the same time. I've got kids from almost 2 up to 19. Their days, their bedtimes and waking times are obviously not the same. Okay, my older kids have activities outside of the house. Sometimes they're not even getting home till 10:30 at night. So obviously it's going to differ based on the people in your family, but everybody gets a waking time and a bedtime. That's the first thing that goes in your daily schedule. Another thing that should be part of what's in your daily schedule is meal times, right? It's the same thing at school. Lunch happens at a certain time, right? And in your house with kids in school, breakfast probably happens at a certain-ish time, and dinner probably happens at a certain-ish time. Keep those same things. Maybe it will be a slightly different time now with kids home, but still having a breakfast time, especially a lunchtime, because that's probably the piece that you're not used to having at home. Have a scheduled lunchtime and then have a scheduled deal times. So waking time and bedtimes and meal times. Okay, those are 2 of the 4 important things you want to have in your schedule. Okay, third thing you want to have in your schedule. Now this is something that I learned after many, many years of being frustrated with being home with my kids all the time, and that is to schedule clean up times. I call these tidy times during your day. Because if you wait until the end of the day, especially if you all of a sudden have all of these kids, they drag blankets all around. They drag clothes all around. They drop clothes wherever they stand. They got shoes all over the house. They've got their whatever, their book, their toys, whatever it might be. The more kids you have at home, the more stuff there is to get dragged all around and make a mess. I'm not talking about cleaning to get everything perfect. I'm talking about making it look like your house isn't a war zone. I'm saying to schedule that cleanup time or that tidy time. Doesn't have to take more. I suggest 10 minutes. I suggest 2 to 3 10-minute tidies. We have stashing places for clutter and then we put them away at the end of the night. That's how we do it in our house. So I have covered laundry hampers. They look nice. They're fabric, they have a lid. That's where my kids' toys go kind of in a rush. During the day, if we're trying to pick up the living room before lunch, some of the toys that go downstairs, for instance, that the kids might have brought up, they go in there. We take care of them at the end of the night. But in the meantime, we're able to get the house tidied up pretty quickly in 10 or 15 minutes. But those cleanup times need to be scheduled into your day 2 or 3 times, because if you save it till the end of the day, you're tired, the kids are tired, it's been a long day. The last thing you feel like doing is attacking a war zone. So cleanup or tidy times is the third thing you need to have figured into your daily schedule. And then the fourth thing is outdoor times, and I suggest actually calling them recess, right? That's what your kids are probably used to. Whatever they call it at your kids' school, break, recess, whatever they call it that. And actually schedule that into your day 2 to 3 times. Just like they would have at school. Typically they get 2 or 3 times of a larger break where they're ideally, and probably most likely, especially if your kids are young, going outside. There's a reason why schools send kids outside. This was something that all of a sudden, when it dawned on me, send the kids outside to blow off some steam and energy and noise, and they came back in, and it was amazing what a difference it made. So sending kids outside for outdoor times 2 or 3 times a day is the fourth thing that you want to have planned into your schedule. See? So this isn't hard. This is what I mean by a simple schedule. You'll notice there's a lot more that you could fill in your daily schedule, right? But when we're talking about making the transition and trying to make it easy for everybody, managing stress, managing overwhelm, less is more, right? Simple is better. So waking times and bedtimes, meal times, cleanup times, outdoor times. That's all you need to focus on for your daily schedule, okay? And maybe this is a great place to start with just these 4 things. And if this drags on and you've got kids home for week after week after week, maybe you'll want to add in some more stuff that you find helpful, right? But for now, this would be the schedule. These would be the 4 things I would suggest focusing on, okay? All right, now I'm going to show you exactly what I've got on mine. And what I will do, again, is I'm going to link up to where you can download your own copy of this if you want this. You can also just use a piece of notebook paper. Does not have to be complicated, okay? But I will link up where you can get this. The cool thing about this is that it also comes with a video where I give you some additional tips into what I'm talking about today. Some of them might repeat, but they're my best tips on how to manage the days well. So it's free. I'll link to it here, okay? So, and then also I will take a picture of this, right? Because you guys probably can't read this. I'm gonna read it to you, but I'm gonna take a picture of this too, so you can copy this exactly if you want. Or it's going to give you an idea of some things that you might incorporate into yours. Ooh, the cool thing about the daily game plan also is that I give you one that's already filled out. I actually give you my schedule. You can have it, right? You can use that and make a few changes on it, you know, if you want. Or there's one that's totally blank. If you say, I don't like any of these things, none of these things apply to me, I want to create my own from scratch. There's one just like it that's blank. Okay, so that's part of what's included in that daily game plan too. A template, a blank one, and a video. Okay, so now let's talk about the schedule that I created for you guys that I think will be super helpful. Okay, so at 8:30, I think that's a reasonable time for breakfast time. When I look at what time works well for my family, we tend to stay up later at night. We're keeping even our little kids up later at night because we try to have family time. So consequently, my little kids are getting to bed relatively later than they would otherwise. And you might find that too, where now because kids are not in school, they're not going to be going to bed maybe as early. That's okay, just adjust the morning time. So I'm trying to make it simple, not too shocking. So I think a really great time, not too early, not too late, would be 8:30 for breakfast, okay? And so I have an hour and a half time block planned for breakfast, okay? And that includes making it, serving it and eating it, cleaning it up, and then a recess. Time for that recess, 10 or 15 minutes outside. Don't let the kids drag everything out, right? That's not good. Just let them go outside and run around, get one thing out. Usually we have a one thing out rule. One thing out during these recess times anyway, a one thing out, they come back in. So you've got a full hour and a half. So however long the kids spend outside depends on how long it takes you to make breakfast, serve breakfast, clean it up, all that, right? So you've got an hour and a half. So now we're going from 8:30 to 10 o'clock, okay? And prior to 8:30, that's when kids are getting up. And it's up to you. In our house, we have kids with responsibilities or what you might think of as chores, right? That's all part of that morning time. And again, whatever that looks like for you, just start breakfast at 8:30, okay? Then at 10 o'clock, you're gonna have family project time. This is awesome. This is gonna be something that you guys love. And I'm gonna expand on this more on Wednesday. I'm gonna tell you exactly what family project time is. But for now, we're just creating a schedule. So family project time is going to be when you work through something that's actually going to be helpful and useful to you. Your kids are at home. Time to capitalize on that, right? Not talking about slave labor, but maybe a little. Okay, so from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock is family project time and a tidy at the end of that, right? Remember I talked about those 2 or 3 times that you're inserting a tidy time? Whether it's going to be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you think it's going to take for you to kind of tidy up the morning mess, that's going to be at the tail end of that family project time. So I've got 2 whole hours blocked off for you guys for family project time, but back off your tidy time, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever that might be, okay? So then at 12, we start on the lunch process, right? And that's going to include making it, cleaning it up, and then again, a recess time, however much time it doesn't take you to make it, eat it, clean it up. Maybe you want to clean it up inside and just send the kids outside for a full half hour. However you want to do that, it's a great time to insert recess. Okay? Then at 1:30, that's when I suggest theme time. Remember this sheet where I gave you the weekly themes, right? These are just suggested weekly themes. Just come up with a theme that you're going to do for the week. Okay? That's theme time. Okay, then this is another thing that we're going to talk about on Tuesday. Tomorrow, you're going to want to make sure you're here to hear about this because 1:30 is theme time. At 3:30, right? You got 2 whole hours for this theme time. At 3:30, it's individual time. Yay, this is the best part of the day, I think. And actually my kids would agree too. So I'm gonna explain to you more tomorrow about how individual time works, but for today, we're just filling in the schedule. So that's where individual time goes. 3:30 until 4:45. At 4:45, I would suggest sending those kids outside. I'm not talking about a quick recess. I'm talking about going outside and playing. Fresh air, hopefully sunshine, noise is outside, mess is outside. I have outdoor time scheduled from 4:45 to 5:30 for you guys. So that's a great time for just everybody to head outside. And outside time could also mean I sometimes send my kids outside with some indoor toys that you would normally think of as indoor toys outside. Doesn't necessarily mean they have to be riding bikes and doing all that stuff, although it can. Like for us, like little people, when we get too many little people in the house, we take some and bring them outside and let the kids play with. I think we have a little people castle outside, and we have a little people bus outside, and we have some little people outside. Our kids can sometimes play indoor things outside, and they just stay outside. So our kids don't always feel like they have to be outside running around. Sometimes they just go out and have quiet playtime outside. They're still outside, they're still getting the fresh air, the sunshine, all of that stuff, okay? So outside time. Then at 5:30, it's dinner time, right? Much the same way. From 5:30 to 7 o'clock, it's the time it takes you to make dinner, which I'm gonna talk about that in a little more detail. My suggestion is you're not actually making dinner at that time. You're simply assembling the dinner that you prepared earlier, which that's another sanity saving tip that we'll talk about later in the week. But dinner time then happens from 5:30 to 7, and that's the amount of time it takes you to assemble and serve dinner, eat it, clean it up. And that's also an excellent time for your second tidy, okay? That quick 10-minute tidy happens at that time. And then at 7 o'clock, you kind of switch gears into all of your evening/bedtime routines, whatever that might look like for you. For us, it usually includes a time of family time, but then it's the individual bedtimes that you have for different people. And if you've got more than one kid at home, you probably, like we do, have staggered bedtimes, right? Not everybody's going to bed at the same time, right? The little kids go to bed first, the older kids go to bed a little bit later. So it's probably the same type of thing for you. So this is a really basic and simple schedule time. And you'll see how I've got those 4 basic components and not a whole lot more in this actual schedule. We've got the waking times and the bedtimes. We've got the meal times. Then we've got theme time, individual time, outside time. That's it. It really can be that simple, but you'll see how we've covered the day and we've got plenty of time to get these things done without having to be bored, without having to just let kids fend for themselves, because that's when all the messes happen. That's when all the fighting happens. That's when all the insanity happens, right? And that's what we're trying to do away with. So those are my suggestions around how to have the one biggest, I think, sanity saving tip for moms with kids at home is to have a daily schedule. But again, less is more, simple is better. Okay, so I touched on individual time, and that's going to be what I expand on a lot more. This is, I think, everybody's favorite time in our house in the day. And when I talk to moms who are overwhelmed, stressed out, and frazzled, this piece is pretty much always missing. And once we add this piece in, it completely transforms the day. So I'm super excited to talk to you guys about that and how to incorporate that tomorrow. Okay, so above this video, just right now, I'm gonna go link to where you can get this for free. There's a suggested schedule, which has more on it than this, right? I'm trying to start you guys super simple, super basic. So there's more ideas on there, or there's one that's totally blank. You fill it in however you want. Plus, there's a video that talks you through a little bit how to fill this out, but also with some tips, super sanity saving tips on there. So I'll link to that. And you guys might also find this pack that I usually have a ton of sales. There's been a lot of people have been buying this the last few days because it's a summer rescue pack. So it's how to keep kids busy during the summer. But let's face it, we kind of have an extra summer right now. So I will link to that and I'll put it on sale now so that you don't even have to pay full price for that, okay? So tomorrow I will be back to talk to you guys about individual time. In the meantime, work on your daily schedule. If you want to try to get to the end of the day and not feel like all the wheels fell off the bus, the schedule, the foundation is going to help you maintain a feeling of sanity throughout the day. Even though it's not going to follow the schedule at times, even though there's going to be interruptions, even though it's not going to go as planned, because it never does, you've at least got that as your basic building block. This is what it would look like if I could choose the way everything in the day would go, and you do your best to make that happen. And if it doesn't happen exactly that way, well, that's okay too. You're still going to feel better once you get to the end of the day, and some of the things on the schedule have happened in the way that you want them to. It just completely transforms the way that you feel at the end of the day when you have that schedule and some of it has actually happened, okay? So I wasn't able to see these comments here before. So I see Trisha's here. I see Shanna is here. Awesome to see you. So if you guys have any questions, put them here and I will link to these resources. You guys, it's okay. The more you have an idea of what you want to do, the more you can control what actually happens. And it's just that feeling of having some sort of control that we feel better about. And honestly, it's more fun for you and it's more fun for the kids. And this is a great time to focus on having some fun too. Okay, so this is how we're gonna do it. So it starts with a daily schedule today. And tomorrow I'm gonna expand on what individual time looks like, why it's amazing, and how to implement it, okay? So I will see you guys then.